Hello. Jack Lynch once said that Nathaniel Hawthorne embodies what it means to be an American author. Nathaniel Hawthorne has created so many various wonderful written works over his time. Not only was he famous back then, but now today, it's almost as if he's become even more famous. Not only did Jack Lynch say wonderful things about Nathaniel Hawthorne's writings, but other people have as well. Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote so many things. Not only did he write the story we are looking at today, but also he was very known for his famous work called The Scarlet Letter. You'll read this later when you get to high school. Megan Marshall is also an author, and she also believed that no one who has ever read the story that we are looking at today, The Birthmark, will ever be able to forget it. Do you think that this story is unforgettable now that you have read it? Think about that for a moment as we begin to brainstorm and analyze this story, The Birthmark. Nathaniel Hawthorne really uses a great way of using symbolism in this story. Symbolism is seen as, of course, the strong characteristic of the birthmark on Georgiana's face. This birthmark is seen throughout the entire story, so evidently this is the symbol, the strongest symbol in this story. Why would Hawthorne use the symbol of a birthmark? Just as Hawthorne uses in The Scarlet Letter, a letter, as you will later on find out, to represent something that hangs over somebody's head for the rest of their life. This birthmark was held over Georgiana's head for her entire life once she married Aylmer. Before she had married Aylmer, people, especially her previous lovers, loved Georgiana's birthmark. Not only did they love it, but they complimented her on it. Georgiana would receive compliment after compliment, and even the women were envious of her. I bet that was nice. Now, for some reason, the newlyweds, while they were gazing at each other, the husband, Aylmer, decided to bring up the birthmark. This birthmark was a very small birthmark on Georgiana's cheek, with a red tint. Especially when she would blush, it would stand out even more. Now, let's think about this. Why would Hawthorne make the birthmark a reddish tint? And why would he make it to stand out when she would blush a reddish color? Because she was so fair-skinned. Red is such a vibrant color that it stands out. Red is used for different large things that mean vast meanings, like blood. People know when you bleed, it's red. It stands out. You can't miss it. This birthmark was something that was evident to all when they met her. Obviously, Hawthorne did not do this by mistake. He did not add in the descriptions of how she would blush by mistake either. He didn't make Georgiana a very fair-skinned woman by mistake. Hawthorne uses symbolism wonderfully in this story when you truly look at the details of Georgiana's beauty in her face. Though Aylmer did not see it as beauty, it truly was. Aylmer was the only one who disagreed with the rest of the world that it was not beautiful. Georgiana became less strong over time. She obviously was not a leader, but she was a follower, as we can see when we read this story. Time and time again, as Aylmer would bring down his wife, Georgiana would fall into his sayings. She would not only listen to his negativity, but she ended up believing it. Not only would she believe it herself, but she would tell herself. Georgiana got to the point where she couldn't even look in the mirror. Can you imagine not even being able to look in the mirror at your own self because of something you were born with? I want you to critically think for a moment and think about how, let's say, your best friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, maybe your parents started badgering you about something that you were born with, that you could not stop. You couldn't get rid of it. How would that make you feel? Think about this for a minute. I don't think it would make me feel very good. It takes a strong person to stand up to something like that. Georgiana obviously was not strong enough. The symbolism between her red birthmark and her fair skin and the way she would blush, and also the way that she fell into Elmer's strong character that he had over her, is very strong symbolism that Hawthorne uses in his story. Sarah Hughes once said that Elmer was so dedicated to correcting this defect at any cost that he made Georgiana the base of his experiment. Georgiana and Elmer had not been married for long. They were still considered newlyweds. And since Elmer was a scientist, he decided to use an experiment on her. Georgiana completely trusted him with all of her heart, as any wife would do. But after all the negativity that he had given her, I don't know if I could do that. After time, he finally made the potion, and Georgiana drank it. Of course, she fell asleep. Elmer would sit there gazing at her, just gazing at his wife, watching the birthmark, watching it fade away. That also is a strong symbol. That again relates to the color of the birthmark. Now we see the color fading, washing away, washing as white as her fair skin. The symbol is now reversing until Georgiana wakes up and tells Elmer, I'm dying, can't you see I'm dying? And we see as this symbol of the birthmark starts to deteriorate, the whole story, and Georgiana herself, which I believe is the main character, deteriorates as well. Unfortunately, Georgiana loses her life and Elmer loses his wife. Though Elmer may have deserved to lose it, Georgiana was not so innocent either. It took two to create this story because of one strong symbol of the birthmark. Thank you.